When a shy scholarship girl was slapped in front of 200 students, everyone thought she'd break down and cry, but what she did next made headlines, destroyed the bullies' reputations, and changed her life forever. Her comeback was so legendary that the school board had to rewrite its rules, and the entire town couldn't stop talking about her revenge. Stay with me till the end, because her story isn't just about pain, it's about power, pride, and a lesson that will make you believe in yourself again. Subscribe now for more real-life revenge stories that prove strength always rises after humiliation. It was supposed to be just another Monday morning at Crestwood High, where laughter echoed down the halls and popularity ruled like royalty, but for Emma Collins, it was the day that would define her entire life. Emma, a quiet, bookish scholarship student who'd transferred from a small rural town, never imagined she'd become the center of a storm that would shake the entire school district. She came from a humble background, her mother a nurse, her father a mechanic, and she believed education was her only ticket to something bigger. But Crestwood wasn't kind to outsiders, especially ones who wore thrifted clothes and didn't know how to blend in. For months, the popular clique, led by Brianna Summers, the principal's daughter, had mocked her accent, her simple lunches, even her old backpack patched with fabric her mom had sewn. Teachers ignored it, the rich kids' parents had too much influence. But on that fateful day, things went too far. It happened during the morning assembly, in front of 200 students gathered in the gym. Emma was giving a short speech after winning the regional science fair, a competition no one expected her to win. As she spoke nervously into the mic, Brianna and her friends started giggling, whispering insults loud enough for everyone to hear. "Listen to that country accent. She sounds like a farmer," one said. Emma tried to stay focused, but when she mentioned her mom's sacrifices, Brianna walked up to her on the stage, smirked, and slapped her across the face. The sound echoed through the gym. Gasps filled the air, cameras came out, the teachers froze. For a second, Emma's vision blurred, and humiliation burned her eyes, but what no one knew was that behind those trembling hands was a girl who had learned to survive much worse. Her mother had raised her to fight for dignity, not revenge, but in that moment, something inside her shifted. She didn't cry, she didn't run. Instead, she looked Brianna dead in the eyes and said, "Thank you. You just handed me my future." Then she calmly walked off stage. Everyone thought she'd never come back. The next day, however, Emma returned with her head high and a plan that would rewrite everything. She started by filing a report, not just with the school, but with the local education board. What most people didn't know was that Emma's uncle was a civil rights attorney, and she'd sent him the video of the slap that had already gone viral overnight. Within hours, local news picked it up. Scholarship student assaulted during school assembly, authorities investigate, the headline read. Parents started calling the school. Sponsors began questioning why Crestwood was protecting a bully. The principal tried to bury it, claiming it was just a misunderstanding, but Emma had already gathered witnesses, including 2 teachers who'd seen the slap. When Brianna's father, the principal, called her into the office to intimidate her, she secretly recorded everything. "You're making a mistake, young lady. People like you don't last here," he sneered. Emma smiled and replied, "That's what you said when my project beat your daughters." 2 days later, the recording leaked online. Public outrage exploded. Hashtags like #justice for Emma trended. The district superintendent launched an independent investigation, and when the board realized the school had tried to silence a victim, they suspended the principal pending review. Brianna's world began to crumble. Her friends distanced themselves. Her father's career was in ruins. But Emma didn't stop there. She turned her humiliation into a campaign, Stand Up Speak Loud, a student-led movement against bullying. She gave interviews, wrote articles, and even spoke at local youth centers about courage and resilience. Within months, she became a symbol of strength. Yet behind her smile, Emma was still haunted by that moment, the slap, the laughter, the sting of humiliation. One afternoon, she found Brianna crying alone in the girls' bathroom. Her once perfect hair was messy, her eyes red. "Are you happy now?" Brianna whispered. "You ruined my life." For a moment, Emma felt pity. "No," she said softly, "you ruined it yourself. I just stopped letting you ruin mine." She turned to leave but paused. "If you want to fix things, start with an apology, not to me, but to everyone you hurt." And for the first time, Brianna didn't roll her eyes. Weeks later, during the next assembly, Brianna took the stage, trembling. "I was wrong," she admitted. "I hurt someone who only wanted to be accepted. I'm sorry." The room fell silent. Emma, sitting in the front row, didn't smile, didn't clap, she just nodded. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about respect. Months later, Emma received a scholarship to Stanford, fully funded. During her graduation speech, she said, "Sometimes the world slaps you in front of everyone, but what matters isn't the slap, it's whether you let it break you or build you." The audience erupted. Even the teachers who once ignored her stood to applaud. But that wasn't the end of her story. 5 years later, Emma returned to Crestwood as a guest speaker, now a published author and activist. The school had changed. Anti-bullying policies were enforced, counseling programs were active, and Brianna, surprisingly, was now volunteering with Emma's foundation. When they met backstage, Brianna smiled awkwardly. "You changed me," she said. Emma shook her head. "No, you chose to change." But fate had one last twist. During a televised event about student empowerment, Emma revealed that she'd used the settlement money from the lawsuit, not for herself, but to build a mentorship program for underprivileged students across the state. Reporters were stunned. "Why give away what you earned?" one asked. Emma smiled. "Because what I earned wasn't money. It was my voice." Her speech went viral again, viewed over 10 million times in a week. Parents started quoting her words. Teenagers used her story in essays. She'd gone from being the girl who got slapped to the woman who silenced bullies with brilliance. Years later, when she stood before a crowd of graduates, her mother sitting proudly in the front row, Emma said, "Pain can be your prison or your passport, it's up to you." The audience gave her a standing ovation that seemed to last forever. But in that thunder of applause, Emma looked at one face in particular, a young girl in the crowd clutching a backpack with the same patchwork design as hers years ago. Their eyes met, and Emma smiled. She knew the cycle had come full circle. That girl would never have to face what she did, because Emma had turned her scars into shields for others. And as she stepped off stage, the echo of that long ago slap no longer haunted her. It had become the rhythm of her victory, the heartbeat of her destiny, and the anthem of a girl who proved that dignity always triumphs over cruelty.